of the time, I believe like you're in the right place at the right time for what you want to be doing.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think that can be used as a crutch. Hey, I'm Teague.
And I'm Sam.
And we are your well-informed girlfriends.
Bringing you stories that you can bring to your group chat.
Mm-hmm.
This week, we're talking about America's explosive diarrhea summer.
Oh.
I know. We love to see it. How the measles season is breaking a bunch of records that nobody wanted to break.
Okay.
And how the biggest winner of Trump's second term might actually be Donald Trump's business portfolio.
Oh, yeah. That does seem to be winning.
Yeah.
We'll also be chatting about keeping a brag folder.
Okay, love
because
it.
we should be celebrating our wins.
Of course.
What complaining does to your brain and the invisible string theory.
Okay, all that and so much more on this week's episode. But I'm going to kick us off with the grossest story in our timeline this week.
Yeah, tough stuff.
Yeah, so forget brat summer. The U.S. is having an explosive diarrhea summer this year.
Lovely.
You've all heard about it, but this year's cyclospora outbreak has now spread to 9 states.
Oh my gosh.
With nearly 2,000 confirmed cases and almost 100 hospitalizations, all linked to iceberg lettuce.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So the FDA traced the outbreak to Tyler Farms iceberg lettuce, grown in central Mexico, and the companies recalled these bag salads in 27 states. And I should also mention the products went to places like Taco Bell and Walmart and all that. And the officials say they don't exactly know which products specifically were affected, and they're warning that these cases will keep climbing in the weeks to come. It can take up to 6 weeks, actually, to determine whether someone is part of the outbreak, and that's because your symptoms show up much later. And also, hot take, maybe because if you go to Taco Bell and you have explosive diarrhea, who's to say what would cause that? It could be any number of things.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the CDC says it's investigating like almost 12,000 cases nationwide. And that makes 2026 the worst year on record for this specific parasite.
Wow.
I know. Love to see it. Gross.
Numbers are climbing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And same thing with measles. I thought measles were gone. I thought that's not anything we had to talk about anymore.
Yeah, no, it turns out measles are famously not gone.
Okay.
The measles hit a milestone in the US that doctors were actually hoping that we would never see.
Right.
The CDC says there have already been more than 2,300 confirmed measles cases this year. And that's the most since the disease was declared eliminated in 2000.
Awesome.
Yeah, the last 2 years have seen more measles cases actually every year from 2000 through 2024. Sorry, we've actually seen more cases this year of measles than every year from 2000 to 2024.
Okay.
So health experts say the reason that is happening obviously is because of falling vaccination rates.
Yeah.
Nationwide, like 93% of kindergartners get the MMR vaccine, but that's below the 95% that experts say you need to have to stop the outbreaks.
Okay.
And so some communities actually have vaccination rates well below that, like 80%. And more than 70% of this year's cases actually were in kids, which is so sad. And like 80 children have been hospitalized with super serious complications like brain swelling, pneumonia. Anyway, so unless vaccination rates get any better, these like large outbreaks might actually be the new normal going forward.
That's horrible.
I know. It's
Tough
really
stuff.
sad.
Okay, our last hard hitting.
Yes. Okay. So this is wild to me. The New York Times reports that Trump actually made more money from crypto last year than from his U.S. golf courses and real estate empire combined.
Right.
So the Times found that they analyzed all of his financial disclosures, and they found that his business was brought in about $2.24 billion in revenue in 2025.
Great.
That's up from an inflation-adjusted $594 million in 2017. And the difference actually was in crypto specifically. He earned nearly $800 million from his family's crypto company. It's called World Liberty Financial. Plus, don't forget, he has his own Trump meme coin where he made $636 million. And those are like just businesses he didn't even have during his first term.
Right.
And so his foreign golf and real estate projects also more than doubled then compared to his last term, while his U.S. and Gulf real estate business grew only modestly. So foreign investments up, meme coins, Trump coin, whatever, all up. Regular, just, U.S. based business, the same.
Wow. I mean, it's like, how much is enough? It's like, come on, what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, and also it's like he's the first president to ever have done that. It's kind of made me realize a lot of the government policy seems to be based on gentlemen's agreements.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, okay. So there's that. Anyways,
That's
the White House,
crazy.
by the way, for what it's worth, the White House says that there are no conflicts of interest and Trump is acting in the best interests of American people. So if you bought a Trump phone, like you do you, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, it's interesting too because obviously you've seen his family profit so much as well. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all of the government contracts that are being awarded, like they invest in much before the government contract is awarded. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so interesting. And is it a total coincidence? Now that's hard to believe, but who knows?
Yeah,
you know?
but Hunter Biden's laptop.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
seriously. Okay, this story I wanted to talk about this week. We just like don't always talk about our wins anymore. You know, the
Yes.
world seems dismal.
I was gonna say, I feel like the wins have been further and further between, but
Right.
yeah.
And so there was a story this week published online about having a brag folder. So experts say that our brains are surprisingly good at remembering our failures, but terrible at remembering our wins. So that's why psychologists are encouraging people to start something called a brag folder. So a brag folder, despite its name, it's not like showing off, but it's a collection of compliments you've received, personal achievements, thank you texts or emails, or photos of like milestones, maybe moments that you've like kind of remind you've grown, or like,
Yeah.
you know, just like things you've done that you're proud of.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, or even like, you know, if you made a nice meal or like you hung out with friends or like it's something that you want to remember, you put this in your brag folder.
Oh my gosh. And you can even make a collection on your phone. That's
Yeah, exactly.
so smart. I
Yeah.
love that a lot.
Yeah, so our brains naturally give more attention to negative experiences than positive ones. That's like why this is like something that psychologists are talking about. This could be important for people. But like the compliments that we get, we often forget, right? It's like I can like remember that weird awkward moment from 2 years ago, like it happened yesterday. But like
Yeah.
the compliment I got from someone last week, I often forget. So that's why they talk about the importance of having something like keeping receipts. So keeping screenshots of nice messages or positive performance reviews, handwritten notes. So
Oh,
yeah,
I love
it's kinda
that. That's
cute.
such a good idea. Honestly, I've always done that for work just so I
Mhm.
can mention it in my like yearly review or whatever
Yeah.
when I'm looking for hashtag inspo writing it.
Yeah.
But I don't do it in my regular life. And I think that would make me feel so much better if I were just like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, so-and-so said she liked my hair today or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that would be really a good idea.
Yeah, it's cool. And then they say that like when you have these feelings of self-doubt starts to creep in, you go back, reference that brag folder and be like, oh, it's okay. I'm fine. Look at all these wins I've had.
Look at all these wins. Look at all these people, my adoring fans.
Yeah, exactly. So a story that kind of ties in with this is there was a story published this week and Real Simple, and talked about how complaining can actually change your brain chemistry, which I thought was very interesting. So they published this story about what complaining does to your brain. Here's what they found. Complaining can actually feel productive, right?
Yeah.
And that's something we know.
Oh, for sure.
You know, it feels like it's like because you're talking about it, it feels like you're making some sort of progress, but unless you make progress on it, it doesn't really do anything, right?
Yeah.
So psychologists say that your brain can mistake complaining for taking action. So even when you're just replaying this same problem over and over, it feels like you're getting somewhere, but you're not because you're just like,
You're stuck in a loop.
you're stuck in a loop and you're not actually taking actions forward. So they talk about why our brains like love to complain.
Oh, why?
So humans naturally pay more attention to negative experiences than positive ones.
Sure.
Which is what we kind of mentioned in the last story. But you think about it, it's like, you know, you remember this embarrassing thing from a few months ago, but like you might struggle to remember
25 years ago.
Yeah.
Or like I once accidentally let my fish die. I think about that once a week. I was 9.
That is so funny. Yeah. And like they talk about how especially if you're complaining to someone and they validate you, that can like egg on the experience, right? And like reward your brain to like keep repeating that cycle.
If a friend keeps validating your complaints, you're like, yeah, it is crazy. And then you're like, yeah, that is crazy. And you just keep going and going and going.
Yeah. So this article asked a question like, what happens if you stop complaining for 1 week? And experts are saying that taking a break from complaining can lower anxiety, increase self-awareness, free up mental energy, help you focus on what you can actually control. So instead of getting stuck in the problem, your brain starts looking for solutions instead of complaining, you know?
So you like acknowledge that there's a problem internally, mentally, and then instead of like complaining about it to your friends verbally,
Yes.
you just are like, all right, let's sit and think about what to do next.
Right. So
okay.
and they talk about like actually taking like action instead of just like complaining the feedback loop of a complaint. And they talk about how this can actually improve your relationships. Like constant negativity can wear people down, obviously.
Yeah.
Friendships mostly built around negative venting often become kind of emotionally draining, and reducing complaints can lead to more positive, meaningful conversations. So, I thought it was very interesting. And there's obviously a difference. Like if you're like talking to a therapist or you're talking to, a family member, or like something's obviously going on, it's very important sometimes to get those like things out. But there's a difference between venting and chronic complaining.
For sure. I mean, like, listen, your girl has never once suffered in silence. I only suffer loudly. So could I probably take a page out of that book and maybe try and improve myself? Yes. Will I stop complaining? Absolutely not. Like, come on. I don't know. How could you ever stop complaining? I feel like as an adult, like a lot of times, even just a complaint about like the door in your dumb building or whatever is how people like almost bond. You're like, oh, and then this happened again. Yikes. Like, I don't know. I feel like it'd be really hard to cut out complaints. That'd be wild.
Yeah. I think my brain I get overwhelmed when I complain a lot. Like, and I will work myself up over like silly stuff. So I try. Like I have to make a concerted effort, obviously, but I try very hard not to complain about things because I'm like, it will only make it worse for myself. I have to like think a little bit selfishly and be like, this will make my day worse. Yeah. So I'm like, I can't do that.
That's so fair. My husband is like that too. If he complains to me about the same thing more than like 3 or 4 times, I'm like, okay. I'm trying to be supportive, but that's a lot of complaints about the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. So the experts actually put a tip in this piece, and they said that if you feel like you have to vent or complain, they say to schedule, quote, worry time. So give yourself 15 to 20 minutes to vent later instead of letting complaints take up your whole day. Oh, so maybe like keep a log of things like, oh, I gotta complain about that later.
To the list.
Yeah. And then later freak out about it.
5:05 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. after work, but like before dinner, you're like, all right, here are my list of complaints. Yeah. Pull it out. Yeah. Ready to bitch.
Exactly.
I can't, you know what? Honestly, that's probably a good way of compartmentalizing. Yeah. It's like you just got to get through the day at some point.
Exactly. Everything has a time frame.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. We're blocking out time for this. Pencil that bad boy in.
Literally. So funny. Okay. What's this next story?
Okay. Yeah. So this is really interesting, and it kind of touches on something we discussed last week.
Okay.
But evidently we're sort of entering the era of invisible plastic surgery. Mm-hmm. And so we've spent years talking about Instagram face, and we've learned to contour and all of that stuff. But now writer Gia Tolentino says that we're actually already in the next phase of beauty, and it's much harder to spot because cosmetic work isn't disappearing. It's just getting much better at hiding.
Yeah.
And so this new essay she wrote in the New Yorker, it's doing the rounds this week. She's been promoting it a lot. And she argues that social media and AI are now pushing everyone towards the same beauty ideal. Mm-hmm. Only this time, the goal is to look like you just naturally won the genetic lottery. So we're talking about getting a bunch of work done on your skin, doing Botox, blah, blah, blah. And she says that it's not just changing our faces, but actually what we think a human face is supposed to look like. Like, humans aren't meant to be poreless, super smooth skinned, blah, blah, blah. Women, like that's just what the internet portends we should be. And so her argument too is that like we're losing something that makes humans human, in that like everybody is heading towards the same beauty ideal. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. And I think this is such a problem because like we're losing that thing that makes us different, right? Mm-hmm. Which is kind of sad. It's like you're like erasing like what you know, like I'm first of all, I'm pro if you want to do anything to your face. Like I'm upset about people
like if you're out here doing Botox, live your best life.
Do your thing.
I would do that if I had money, and let's be real.
Yeah. But like it doesn't ultimately make me like a little sad that people feel the need to do that. And again, I'm not above it. Like I'll do the same thing. Like I'll go get PRP or the latest facial or whatever. Like I'm participating in this.
Same.
But it is like it's like a bummer when, especially I think about like young girls looking at, these ideals online. And it's just like so unbelievably unrealistic. And before it was all Photoshop. And now I think some of it's like becoming real because people are actually getting plastic surgery. It's like we've taken it a step too far. Okay. Yeah. It's too much.
Oh, for sure. And I even have seen people say, like one of the Hadid sisters, I remember she said she regretted getting a nose job because she felt like it took away one of the unique things that made her her.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I've never done any serious work like that. And I think I'm fine with it. Like I like that this is how I look. And I hope that young people understand too, you could be the best version of yourself without matching what everyone's beauty ideals are, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I hope that it changes, but I don't know if it's gonna anytime soon.
I know. Well, I don't know. I hope that we'll come back around on that,
Yeah,
maybe.
I agree. Okay. We are at our point in the show.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we are at our coffee break brought to you by Blackwood Coffee.
Uh-huh.
So anyone in West Hollywood listening, we love Blackwood Coffee. Check them
it.
out. They've provided us with some of our decor here.
It's the best.
If you are watching on YouTube. But anyways, so Blackwood Coffee, thank you for this. And we are going to take our little coffee break to talk about what we're watching and what it seems everyone is watching, The Odyssey.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good. It is worth seeing it in a theater 100%. It's first of all, it's just a spectacular spectacle, first of all.
Yeah.
And second of all, just like that community aspect, it's a fun one to watch with people in the audience. I also feel the same way about The Invite, which you would be a little surprised about. You're like, why do I need to see that with a group of people? You do. It's like, it's because it's all like relationship things in The Invite with Seth Rogen. And it's like, it's like everybody like kind of relates on like the same jokes, and the same things hit for people. And it's like funny and silly and it's just so well done. So I loved The Invite. I loved The Odyssey.
Okay, amazing.
I am seeing the theater.
The Odyssey this week. So I will report back with my thoughts. But
Yeah.
I'm so pumped. I've seen everybody online talking it up majorly. So I'm pumped. Did you think it was did you see it in like 70 millimeter?
I did, yeah.
And you thought like it was worth it?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know the comparison. Like I didn't see it on a regular screen.
That's fair.
But like what I saw was incredible. I'm sure it would be just as good in a regular theater, but I think like because it was so specially done and made to be seen on the 70 millimeter, I felt lucky to see it in that format. It was cool.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Have you seen all the memes that are like billions of dollars have been spent trying to bring Matt Damon home? Because in every movie he's in, I guess they're like trying to get him back. Like Interstellar, whatever. It's like everywhere he goes in every movie. He's made a whole career out of trying to get home.
Literally. We love it. We love him
it so much. All right, awesome. Well, that's so fun.
We love it. Thank you, Blackwood.
Thanks, Blackwood.
Yay.
All right. Our next story is about how dads might actually be doom scrolling more than moms about parenting.
What?
Okay, so this is according to a new Moonbug Entertainment report.
Okay.
53% of dads say they compare themselves to other parents online, compared to 37% of moms.
What? I didn't even know dads were looking at family content.
You know what? I think it's our generation. Like they're trying to right the wrongs of previous,
They're looking at like dad talk.
I think I don't know if they're
what are they looking at?
Talk,
Who the heck is making content for men that are dads? No offense.
Oh my gosh,
who's doing
I get it a lot actually.
Really?
Yes.
Not my
oh my gosh,
feed.
there's some comedian named Trey. I get like a lot of comedian dads making content about dads.
Okay.
But anyway, so this study actually also found that millennials are using AI for parenting more than Gen Z.
Okay.
From everything like meal planning to actual parenting advice. And while millennials tend to make being a parent a core part of their identity, Gen Z is more likely to see it as just one piece of who they are and are trying to rewrite this sort of parenting handbook.
Well, I think that should happen.
I agree. I think it's more sustainable that way. I
Yeah.
think the sort of helicopter, really intense parenting that has become expected of our generation has made it very untenable for a lot of, especially moms, frankly, just based on my experience. And so I hope if I ever like decide to have kids, I will try and make it a core part of my identity, sure, but also maintain an identity outside of that.
Yeah, I think
much
you
easier
have
said than
to.
done, but-
Yeah, of course. But I also think it's funny that they're saying that millennials are using AI for parenting. I think also this doesn't bother me. No, if I know that people will be like, that's silly. Like you can't let like robots raise your kids. And that's not what it is. I think it's like more like asking people questions, asking chatbot, like, what should I feed my toddler today?
Like, here's a picture of
and
my
like,
son's poop. Is that normal?
Yeah, that feels like support.
Like normal. Yeah.
That
feels like trying to stay sane in like a crazy time.
Right.
I don't know. I think that's an ethical use of AI. Hot take.
Yeah, no, I do too. Especially it's like in the day of like people have less help than they used to, and people are having kids older or whatever. So like if that means your grandparents are helping or they're not able to help as much or they live far away or whatever it is. So I think it's cool that people are using it in that way. But
Yeah, I respect it. I think it's fair. I think it's totally fine. But
and dads are online, I guess.
The dads do be online and
they feel bad about their
I think they're just trying to do a good job. I'm gonna give
Yeah.
them the benefit of the doubt. I think a
Okay.
lot of dads remember like their dad's not showing up for them or whatever, and they're like, I want to do better. I want to
Yeah.
be a better version of myself for my kids. And I love that for them. I think that we
Yeah.
should be doing that. Like think about all the guys we know who are parents. Like they are
Yeah.
trying mostly. I think, I would say 95% of the guys I know who have kids
Yeah.
are genuinely trying to be an egalitarian partner who shows up for their family.
Which is cool because it's also like, why do it if you're not gonna?
Right. Why would you even
Why do
bother
it?
having kids if you weren't trying to show up? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
crazy.
And be like present and do your best work for your kids, right?
Yeah,
But like I
agreed.
think they are also maybe giving themselves a little bit of anxiety about it.
Yeah, fair.
And just doom scrolling.
You know what? It's stressful.
It
It's
is so
stressful
stressful.
out
I
there.
totally get it. I would
Yeah.
be stressed too. So what's this last thing here?
Okay, so have you heard of the invisible string theory? You
That-
know the song from Taylor Swift.
Obviously. I was just about to say it. My
Yeah.
Lord and Savior Taylor has a whole song about it.
Yes.
And it's how we might all be connected in ways we don't realize, right?
Kind of, yeah. So people are talking about it online this week, the invisible string theory. And it's basically the belief that people who are meant to be in each other's lives are connected by an invisible string. So like no matter the timing, the distance, the life circumstances, that invisible string eventually pulls them together.
Oh, okay. I
So
love that.
it's not like a scientific theory, but it's more of a metaphor for like a spiritual belief about fate in relationships.
Oh, I
you
love
know?
that. And it doesn't even have to be romantic love, right? It can just be your
Right.
friends.
It could be your friends. Yeah. And the concept actually goes back way before it was like popular online.
Mhm.
Many experts are tracing it back to this East Asian legend of red thread of fate.
Oh, okay.
So it's like folklore where two people were destined to meet and they're connected by this invisible red thread that can stretch or tangle but never break. So you're always kind of
Gotcha.
like connected. I mean, do you think this is true? Like, do you think like you eventually end up with the person that you're supposed to be with and like you're always kind of connected to someone? Or do you think sometimes people look at this and they take it too literally and they're like, you must be my invisible string. Like I'm going to stay in this thing, even if it's like toxic or whatever, because we're
Mm.
connected via string.
I don't know that it's quite as binary as that
Yeah,
for me.
fair.
I think that I do kind of believe in karma and I believe in a lot of like the energy that you put
Mhm.
out into the world is what comes back to you.
Mm-hmm.
I think the invisible string theory is nice.
Yeah.
I think a more pragmatic approach, just like that I've kind of internalized over the years, is that I think that we do have these relationships we maintain. I have many friends I've had for literally decades.
Yeah.
And sometimes it ebbs and flows in the sense that like I don't live there anymore, or somebody has a baby and they're having a hard time just keeping up with all that, and so like
Yeah.
they're not responding to my texts or memes or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
I never get mad about that kind of thing, to be clear, not complaining. But I think that there are different ways of showing up at different points in time for your friends, your partners, your family, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of that is because you have these binding ties, these invisible strings connecting you to them.
Mhm.
Do I think that like maybe some people use this as an excuse to stay in toxic relationships? Probably. But
Yeah.
I think, I don't think I would have met my husband if he hadn't like ended up here at a specific time on Hinge in West Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like there
Yeah.
are all these things that had to happen for that to happen, for us to get together.
Yeah.
But I do think that like there's somewhere in between all of that is
Yeah.
the truth. And
Yeah.
I think that for me, I just like love having positive relationships over like a long time. And I think it doesn't even have to be romantic love in that case.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I do feel like it's kind of nice to just like connect the dots afterwards and be like, oh, it's like fun that we ended up in the same place at the same time and doing the same thing. You
Or
know?
like, I've met people who were like, it was so weird. We used to vacation at the Jersey Shore as kids.
Yeah,
and then
you're
like
me too. And we were there in the same picture.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
those stories. I love when people have those things. And
Yeah.
I do part of it makes me believe in it more when that kind of thing happens.
Yeah.
But even just like randomly, like I have a girlfriend here who both of us went to Mizzou and like
Yeah.
didn't know each other, but we ended up being neighbors in West Hollywood like 15 years later. What are the
Yeah.
odds of that happening?
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it's just like a cool thing. And the world is small, I think, is what I'm getting at. And
Yeah.
like when I'm reminded of how like interconnected we all are as a people, I like kind of love it and gives me hope in like humanity and life.
Yeah, no, I agree. We all are pretty much connected at this point.
Oh,
Especially
yeah,
if you live
for
in LA.
sure.
You're
And
gonna
it's
see
like,
the same
listen,
people
I don't know.
around.
Do you believe in like fate, or do you just like, I don't know, what's your vibe on fate?
Fate? Like
Yeah.
yeah, I do, I think. I think
Yeah.
it's nice to believe in things and that's a nice thing to believe in.
I agree. Like the
You know?
universe presented you with an opportunity and you like maybe took it.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time I believe like you're in the right place at the right time for what you want to be doing.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think that can be used as a crutch. Like sometimes I think I'll be like, oh, this is like the timing's not right. But it's like you can like make the timing better for yourself. Sometimes I think I look at myself like, oh, you can make the timing better. But anyways, that's just me being self-critical.
No, I think it's true for all of us, honestly. We're all probably like that occasionally when we're like, oh, well, the timing wasn't right. And you're like, well, I mean, like you could have made it to that Pilates class, Sam.
Yeah. Okay, well, this was so fun.
Oh my gosh, yes. Thank you everyone for watching. If you could tell your friends and family, that would be amazing. Leave us a review, only if it's 5 stars. XOXO.
Love
See
you
next week. Bye.